What are you doing?
Hello guys, gals and non-binary pals, I'm Dips, and today we're going to be answering the question, can you beat Baldur's Gate 3 Act 1 as a skeleton? But to add a little bit of spice to the run, we're not playing as just any old skeleton, but as a skeleton king. The full mod list will be at the end of the video, and also linked in the description in case you want to give this a go, so let's go over the rules. For this run, the rules are the following. First, a king has no equals, therefore this is a solo run with no companion NPCs. Second, a king doesn't run errands or negotiate with the common rabble, and therefore we're going to avoid dialogue and quests to the greatest possible extent. And third, we're playing on tactician mode, which is the hardest difficulty, just to add a little bit of spice. So let's meet our would-be king. This is John, who, after the process of turning into an illithid going poorly, woke up dead and realized that they really wanted to be a powerful undead king ruling a populace of the undying anyway, so things are all good. For this playthrough, we are obviously going to be running a necromancy wizard to get our skeleton companions, and something also to consider is that the skeleton race in the mod I'm using is immune to poison, but has a vulnerability to bludgeoning damage, which will never be an issue in the history of this run. Therefore, I decided to play it safe with the stats using a totally normal wizard stat distribution. So, let's get into it. Getting into the run, we wake up on the Northlight ship. Lae'zel gives us a very rude but fair greeting.
Abomination. This is your end.
Before we party up to go fight some imps. Now I know I said no companion NPCs for this run, but it is the tutorial and we can't get away from them. Now with that 8 intelligence is already coming back to bite us since we can only have one prepared spell, which right now is Find Familiar. So I summoned a crab, because crabs are basically the skeletons of the ocean, and killed the imps to enter the final part of the tutorial, where I get down to the sick beat of the battlefield. Now I never played this on tactician mode, so while I was crucially picking up nautiloid tanks, our allied Maya player was getting their head kicked in, which is where I started to take things a little bit more seriously, and booked it towards the console. 2 turns later, Lae'zel was taking on 3 demons at once, and the crab made the ultimate sacrifice, tanking an opportunity attack so Jean could get to safety on their turn. Suddenly dragon, and we are stuck in Faerun, ready to start the challenge. While we're looting, taxing, the bodies of the dead, we might as well have a look at the side objectives for this run. Firstly, we can't be a smart king, we definitely need to look it, so we're going to be looking for some impressive looking books. Second, a king definitely needs some divine recognition, so we'll have to get a priest at some point. Third, we definitely need an impressive looking crown, it's a must have. And fourth, we're going to collect as many undead summons as possible in the game. With all these powers combined, the final goal will be to storm the keep at the end of Act 1 with an army of skeleton soldiers to complete the challenge. Back to the run, we level up, choosing necromancy as our wizard subclass and enter the first real fight outside the tutorial. Even with an ambush, things do not go particularly well. Apparently in tactician mode, these guys can brain blast you Jimmy Neutron style, so my tactic of running away was not particularly helpful. In fact, in order to not just die, I had to blast through a third of my healing supplies, which was not particularly ideal. Healing as a whole is going to be a very difficult issue for this run, since I don't have access to a cleric, I can't buy potions from vendors, and long rests take double supplies on tactician mode and therefore are going to be few and far between. Anyway, after taxing the rest of the ship and avoiding all the companions, I ran off towards the ancient chapel ruins, where we would set up our base and hopefully complete one of our goals to find a priest. Without any sort of ranged weapon and my magic being incredibly weak, fighting the goons at the entrance would probably not go too well. So I just pronounced them as my new guards and slid through a hatch down the side, straight to where our new priest was supposed to be waiting for us. I looted all of my sleeping brethren, and when I went to open the final crypt, they had the audacity to get up and pronounce they wanted a democracy for the mutual benefit and prosperity of all, which I responded to appropriately with incredible amounts of violence. Initially, I thought I'd have the upper hand since I already stole all of their weapons, but 4 of them turned out to be casters, while the remaining warrior nearly one-shot me with a fucking rock. Bludgeoning vulnerability is absolutely not a joke. After several tries with sneak attacks and backup from Sir Crab, I eventually retreated and came up with a much better plan of locking them up with chests and poking around the corner to kill them. This worked fine for the casters, but my low intelligence and the high armor class of the final skeleton made hitting them nearly impossible and very, very time consuming. They also had the fun ability to throw a rock through a doorframe, crushing my head like a paper bag. Therefore, as kings often do, I chose to show mercy to my opponent and allow them a brief respite to leave my chapel. A completely unrelated issue I was having is that I can't blow up any of my stored explosives, as I didn't have a source of fire I could throw, or could use from far enough away. So I decided to go borrow one from one of the guards. Apparently, not being told of the change in management, I was attacked and had to barricade myself in the hallway. Realizing I actually had access to burning hands, I set a trap and... Hiding myself in the bedroom this time, I jumped the peasant, beat them with my staff, and finally had a proper ranged weapon. Realizing these humans just can't be trusted, I beat up the remaining bandit inside and stole all of their precious food, which meant I could finally do a long rest when I needed to. Exiting through the front door, I managed to scare a bunch of the bandits off, but I realized all that sweet XP would be going to waste, and with my burning torch, blew 2 of them up, which they both somehow survived, and the witch simultaneously managed to miss an attack and nearly kill me with it, leaving me to tactically retreat as the warrior tried to cleave me in 2. Once they were all dead, I was so close to level 3, so I went running around trying to find something to kill. And here we accidentally broke the rules in getting caught in a conversation between these 3, which I remedied by attempting to kill them all. Lae'zel and the explosions they had made short work of the tieflings, but unfortunately Lae'zel proved to be made of sterner stuff, chugging 4 health potions that I really wish I had taken off her earlier. This had left me literally single digits away from level 3, which I took as a sign. King John would return from their pilgrimage and best their new rival in Mortal Kombat. Therefore, after a long rest and a admittedly failed assassination plot, John engaged them in open combat. It was a battle worthy of the gods, one-on-one combat with John emerging victorious. John emerging victorious. After leveling up, still on death's door, we found our undead clergyman, and after telling them that we would ground as many orphans to dust as necessary to become king, they joined us at our camp and we completed our first goal. Today the chapel, tomorrow the world. Join us next time as an Australian family does some pest control, we abandon some civilians to goblins, and we borrow a book from a mysterious laboratory with absolutely 0 consequences. Would you like to see John become king in part 2? If you would, feel free to leave a comment, like, or even subscribe. This is somewhat different from my normal content, but I am having an absolute blast making it, so probably lots more to come. Thank you everybody for watching, and before I head out, the mods list. For character creation, I've been using the Playable Skeletons mod by Nalsrello for the playable skeleton race, as well as 2 quality of life mods. The first being Carry Rate Increase 9000 by Moraeus, which doubles my carry rate since I'm running solo, and it just reduced the amount of time I had running back and forth from the camp. I also use Level Up Quick by Del Figalo 1368, which gave me double XP since I wasn't getting any quest XP and can't talk 21. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Dips out.